Welcome to the Andy Show. And you've got me, Alex Isaac, today, and we're talking about digital transformations. Now, we've done a lot since the pandemic started. Remote working has become super popular, making sure thousands have remained in jobs. But loads of companies are looking to migrate or integrate with their digital transformations. So talking us through what Bell Integration has done is Steve Lee. Thanks so much for joining me, Steve.
Thanks, Alex. Good to be here.
And so we're talking about the way that things have changed since, COVID started back in March and February. What things have you noticed in your role?
So obviously, since being at Bell Integration, I think what we've seen is some type of business as usual and as continuous as possible. I think what we're seeing is a lot of projects are being put on hold at the moment while we figure out what the fallout looks like for a lot of businesses. But that's not to say that innovation has stopped. A lot of the AI market and automation market, which I'm sort of heading up and leading out of Bell, has been quite busy. A lot of people interested in new services that we're bringing to the forefront of our capabilities, and new ways that we're innovating to try and deliver them to customers. So it has been busy, albeit it's been quite a tough time for everybody getting used to the new way of working. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be here, and hopefully we'll get back to a business as usual as soon as possible, really.
And, going on talking about AI managed services, you are leading that forward. So what exactly are you doing in that field?
Yeah. So if I talk about introducing AI managed service, why did we look to do that? I suppose it was three things around it, right? So we looked at the technology maturity as one part of it. The AI and automation sector has come on leaps and bounds in the last 3 or 4 years. If we look at just some normal business technology vendors out there, everyone's introducing some form of AI or machine learning to their product. And I think when we were looking to introduce it into our services, we needed to not gel multiple products together, but we needed one platform that could deliver a whole host of capabilities for us to then deliver to our customers. And then we had some market timing. The market's been through big data, it's been through cloud first, and now on everyone's agenda is this AI and automation. How can we utilize it either through the services we get from companies or directly, and get those tools into our business and start reaping the benefits of cost saving and efficiency gains. And then it comes onto that, we're no different to any other business. We need to be seen to be innovating and saving on cost as well. So when we was looking at the market for how do we implement AI and automation into our services, we came across a company called IPsoft, and now we have partnered with them. So they are a leading and a thought leader in the conversational AI and automation space. And essentially what we've done is we've taken our people and our processes, their cutting edge technology, their ITSM automation platform, and we blended the two together. So now we can deliver to the market automation through our managed service capability, delivering cost saving, time to value, increase the time to value for our customers. So essentially they can reap the benefits via us and the services they take from us. So that's how we're sort of seeing the market at the moment. That's how we see that the market went to and came to. And it's an exciting time. It's a really exciting time.
I mean, when you think about AI managed services and a company that maybe hasn't really considered this before, is it something that's going to completely revolutionize the way they work, or is it an integration with what they've already got?
So I'd say it's a new spin on what they currently have. I mean, if you think about a traditional, and let's take a service desk, a traditional service desk, you have people sat there either in a chat window or on a telephone. They're taking calls from users, and the users tend to have some kind of problem, whether that be, I can't get access to a system, I need to order a new computer, whatever it may be. Now, a human will take that call. Now, that human, when they're employed onto that service desk, they are employed to take calls and to resolve issues that our users have, but they also want to be used to improve the services of that help desk as well, and help grow the efficiencies of their business unit. And at the moment, what we're finding is a lot of the I'd say the choke point is these L0 and L1 tickets that are coming through, these high volume tickets that are taking up so much time of this service desk. Overlaying that with AI and automation relieves all of the pain around your password resets, your FAQs, the really simple tasks where humans' time could be better spent improving services and improving processes within their business unit. If you overlay that with AI and automation, it should be a seamless transition. There shouldn't be much change for the business or for the user. And that's quite key, because a lot of businesses out there at the moment, when we're looking at how they consume internal services, user efficiency and user satisfaction is really key at the moment. So no change to service is good, but when you're trying to send users off to a different portal or a different tool to do things that they've always done from one central place, that causes real issue. And that was a big thing when we were looking at the automation platform, was we need to make this as seamless as possible and to integrate with whatever business that we're dealing with all their previous investments. So we don't want to be going in and disrupting the way that they work. We don't want to be going in and ripping out any tools that they have to replace it with our tool. What we want to do is we want to connect all the systems, bring automation in on a layer, and plug the gaps, maybe where they're missing some skill sets, or maybe where they're getting overloaded in one team and they need to have some capacity back. So AI really shouldn't change the way you work. It should enhance or augment the humans there within your help desk to help drive efficiencies and, again, drive cost saving.
I mean, talking about the cost savings, it's a really big, important part of any organization. And usually, unfortunately, at the moment, cost savings equals less staff. So do you think that by bringing this automation for certain tools, that you're encouraging companies to maybe get rid of a lower level of staff?
Well, that is the misconception and the common misconception of automation. Yes, ultimately you can do that with automation if you so please. But I'm working with plenty of customers. One customer in particular, a really large FS company, and they're delivering automation at a huge scale, and they've got rid of absolutely nobody. What they've done is they've taken the automation into these high volume areas. They've actually released capacity and allowed the people that they've released capacity from to innovate the way that their infrastructure is currently working today. And that's the right way to use it to increase revenues, to use it to put your people back into the business, to think of new ways to promote new services, to come up with new services or new products or whatever it may be. It's to use it to increase a gain. It's not to use it to get rid of people altogether. And that is, I think, a common misconception. I think what the position that we're coming from it is, we don't want to come in and take over the whole service desk or the whole help desk. We're coming in to say, okay, well, where do you need help? Do you need help in a certain portion of your help desk because you haven't got the skill set? We've got all these new technologies coming to the forefront, and typically you have a lot of different skills associated to different products. Well, maybe we can come in and handle a new product that you've just come in. All of the requests and problems that users have with that, we can handle that for you. So effectively, we're not getting rid of anyone's job. We're just filling out a skill gap that you've currently got with automation. And then we can look to spread that out slowly across your business. So, into areas that you're looking to innovate within certain business units. So I don't see it as getting rid of jobs. I probably see it as more creating jobs from that perspective.
Also kind of upskilling, I guess, your workforce. If you can give
Exactly.
the constant managed services to something else like a computer, then you can only get positive out of your workplace. But what do you see as the challenges for automation? Like, what is the high impact on a business?
I think the challenge is that at the moment you've got multiple tools out there, and this is a challenge that what we faced as well as a business when we were looking at tools. Was there's multiple tools out there that you can go for, right? But if you build your automation practice, or you're building out automation for a business unit with multiple tools and you're trying to glue them together, that becomes quite costly and quite tough. And then you tend to have lots of humans sat in between the layers of automation, that when one automation finishes, I'll take the results and then I'll kick the next automation off. Well, that's not really true end-to-end automation. That's just sort of human augmented automation, right? So I think when you're looking at it, you've got to be really careful about how you approach it. And I'd say the first way is identify the area or what it is you're looking to automate. That's the key thing here. If you're looking at business process automation, RPA is probably what you're looking for. If you're looking at like HR, legal, finance, highly repetitive tasks that don't come through to a service desk, they're owned within the business. RPA have done a fantastic job at going out there and resolving issues for those kinds of users. But if you're looking at understanding a user's problem from a service desk perspective, the key thing here is you've got to have the right conversational agent on the front. So, I mean, everyone who's watching, if they are watching, and yourself, Alex, I mean, we're all consumers of some type of service or product in our personal lives, with our bank, with our car insurer, whoever it may be. And we've all come across really, really shoddy chatbots that have just been put in place to try and, to try and deflect from you calling up or contacting another way. Now, chatbots tend to work in a very linear fashion. They get programmed to work on keywords and things like that. So when you don't hit the right keyword, what it does is it points you to an FAQ, or it says, hey, just call this number and we'll get you resolved. The product, when we were looking at it, had to be dynamic enough that the user felt like they were having a really natural conversation with just another person. And also wherever they wanted to have the conversation, right? It wasn't go to, as I said before, to a specific portal. It was, you can use Teams, you can use Skype, you can use Slack, you can go via the phone, you can go via WhatsApp. However you want to consume this service, you need to be able to consume it from wherever you want and in any way that you want to. So you should be able to have a really natural conversation. So I feel like the misconception with automation is it's easy to do. And if you've identified the right areas and you have got a strategy built out from there, picking the right tool can be quite tricky. But getting specialists in or getting a services company in who can help you start to build what that looks like and then take responsibility of it later down the line could be another route for you. But the gains for automation are huge. I mean, you just look at what some of the companies are doing in the world out there, and they're saving thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours a month to reappropriate back into the business to drive, new revenues and new lines of products, etc. And it's it really is an exciting time. I mean, Gartner have mentioned that 80% of businesses after lockdown, this is the first thing on their agenda. When business as usual comes back, 80% of businesses are going to be going for AI and automation quite aggressively. And that speaks, volumes to the types of advantages you can get from automation.
Oh, but there's also the other end, isn't there, where people are seeing these kind of, for example, like chat boxes that you just mentioned on every other website, and it's not working because they're not integrating it properly and they're not
Yeah.
using the fluid conversation that you're talking about. And that can also put people off, because as a user, you're coming across them on every other website. Therefore, you're not going to know when it's going to be correctly used. So how can you make sure that someone is coming to the site that maybe you're managing or hosting and they're getting the best experience? Because if everyone's doing it, how do you pick out who's doing it well?
Yeah. I think not to do chatbots a disservice, they are growing in their capabilities. But when I look at the types of automations and the type of conversational agent IPsoft and we're working with them, and what they provided us with, Amelia is her name. She's not a chatbot. She's a conversational agent who's been built by the CEO, Chetan Dubey. It's been built on a human brain, so it has semantic memory, episodic. It's been built on the way that we work as humans, not on keywords and things like that. So it can be very off-putting, right, for going onto people's websites and having a really poor experience. But when you're going to the market, you want to be looking at your conversational agent can handle whatever it is you're going to throw at it. Multiple requests in multiple different languages. You can go back and change parts of your request when you're halfway through a conversation. All of these things for like a dynamic conversation that me and you are having now. I'm reacting to what you're saying. If I was a chatbot, I'd be falling over and I'll be sending you to a helpline. You need to be looking at how the product has been built from the ground up, because if it is just a keyword chatbot logger, your whole automation strategy is going to fall completely short, because you're not going to understand the intent of your users or customers or whoever it may be. So that is that's a key thing. It probably is a worry for if you are a consumer, but there are a lot of great companies out there using fantastic chatbots or conversational agents like we are, and they are out there. You just probably got to look a little bit harder.
In taking it from inside the company, you talked about RPAs earlier and making sure that you've managed software within internal. Do you find sometimes when working with customers like that, internal customers, not necessarily outside, it's difficult to get people to relearn? I mean, it's all well and good having like AI managed services, but ultimately it's the people that are doing the job. So how do you make sure that they're getting the best of what you're offering?
Well, so when I was coming to the people in the process, it's making sure that the product that you're buying, it complements the work that they're doing. It's not completely changing the way that they work. It's actually augmenting the way they work. And again, the product that you're buying or that we've bought needed to be as augmentative as possible in terms of we need to be able to drop it into our managed services business. They need to be able to use it just not on the service desk, but on all of the other services that we provide. Can we leverage it in some way to take away all of the heavy lifting that maybe our humans have to do? And if we can cheapen our service there, we can pass those cheaper services and cheaper prices onto our customers. So getting their buy-in should relatively be quite simple, because what you're saying is I'm going to make your job easier by having this really agnostic and dynamic platform that I'm going to give you to use. It's got all the pre-built integrations. It's got some pre-built automations in there. It's got a really simple automation designer. It's got workflow management. It's got monitoring, ticketing. It's got everything you need to make a fully fledged automation strategy and make end-to-end automation successful. Use the product to your advantage. And we're working closely with the guys at IPsoft to really deliver some big scale projects. And the customers are loving it at the moment. There seems to be no pushback at the moment for this is completely changing the way that we work. But on the other hand, changing the way that you work isn't unnecessarily a bad thing, right? We all get stuck into some bad processes. So looking at the processes we've currently got and saying, hey, should we be changing that? Is that too complicated, or is that asking too many things from our people? Can we change it with automation to make it a simpler process? And I think if you put that in front of people, I can't see many teams or businesses or C-level execs pushing back and saying we're making our users and our staff's life easier. I wouldn't see the pushback on that.
It sounds like it's going to be a niche for everyone that comes to you has their own way of dealing with things. And I guess that's part of your role, is to make sure that they're working to the best of their abilities and that they can do the work that they're doing. Steve, it's really interesting to talk about AI and the managed services that you provide, and I'm darn sure that more people are going to get in touch to potentially help them move forward. But don't go anywhere. We'll come back to you. But I know